Hey, Bravehearts, Urbanites, and SEQ Nation, and welcome to what I am calling the Coach's Check In. It is Wednesday. Yes, it's Wednesday, December 17th. Welcome to my lunchtime. Okay, so here's the deal, and I'm letting you know right now, which I've let you know before, that we are on university level, which means that in any given course on a university campus, class is about 2 to 2.5 hours long. So this is not an entertainment video. It's not. All of this that I am about to share with you is news you can use. Not that Fox 5 bullshit. This is really for my brave hearts and my urbanites with the support of the SEQ Nation. And just for those who may not have had a chance to review previous videos, the SEQ Nation is the social plus emotional intelligence people. Those are the folks that really get into learning and understanding one's emotional stamina and how it is relative to social situations. I am certified. Yeah, I'm happy to say that I am a whole month certified. I am a certified coach in social and emotional intelligence. So when I say SEQ Nation, understand that I'm kind of like a newbie to the industry, but I still already feel like I'm home. I know that I'm a member of the family, and this is my portion of what I am doing to honor my certification, and I plan to use it very well. So, with that noted, understand we have an array of things to go through today. I'm going to start off with my announcements. We have a couple of club announcements that I need to make you aware of. So check this out. Um, and it wasn't on my mind to roll this off, so I'm not sure if am I going to. I can't find it right offhand, but 7 habits of highly effective network marketers. Now, it's still written by Stephen R. Covey, but instead of it being the 7 habits of highly effective people, he has put out a compilation called the 7 habits of highly effective network marketers. I'm almost sure that that's what that is. That's what the name of the book is called. So he gives a rundown, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is the same 7 habits. I want to give it to you now. Give me a minute. It's the same. It's the same habits. Oh, Thea, are you kidding me? Like, where's my stuff? And it's amazing. It's like I've been looking at this stuff like for the last 3 weeks, and now I get in front of you and I don't have. I think it was mainly because I wasn't particularly going to share it in this segment. I was holding it for the next segment. Okay, just know that one of the things that he says to be highly effective inside of the network atmosphere, like the network styled projects, is to make sure that you keep everybody in the loop. So, in my efforts to be highly effective, this is my attempt to keep you in the loop. Okay, so January 2nd. The January 2nd Mentors Mixer is completely booked solid. I thank you very much for those who registered. I am so looking forward to this outing. For one, I don't really get out much. I'm here, I'm down here, I'm in it to win it. So, yeah, it's either this desk, get something to eat, wash my ass, go to bed. So, January's mixer, I am really, really happy about. So February's mixer is going to be a little different. It is going to be breakfast. One session will be at breakfast. The second session will be at lunch. It is scheduled for February 21st. Breakfast starts at 8 a.m. Lunch starts at 2 p.m. Um, it will be held at the Marriott Town Suites at Andrews Air Force Base. I am in the process now of finalizing the Eventbrite link, the profile for um, the February mixer. Once again, very limited seating, 20 people. 20 people in the morning, 20 people in the afternoon. Like I've said before, I don't do big events mainly because I want to converse with you. That's the whole point, right? So I'm going to hit the stage one day, but right now it is time for me to gain the personal edge of my mentors. I think the club has to begin small, then it grows, right? Okay, so when does it go live? I think the tickets will be going live. Yes, tickets will be going live December 27th. But as of this afternoon, I'm going to have all the details. So you'll be able to go up there and look at it. You just won't be able to reserve your space until after the 27th. Next thing is March. Now, in March, we will actually be combining the mixer. It won't really be a mixer in March because we are hooking up with HR.com and the Society of Human Resources Management, the Society of Human Resources Management, SHRM, SHRM, Society of Human Resources Management. So we're hooking up with these two huge organizations to pull off a virtual conference on innovative leadership, which I thought was really, really good because it gives us mentors benchmark. It gives us new information or solidifies the information that we already have so that we make sure that we remain comprehensive and cohesive to those that we mentor. So that's 2 days. 2 days is going down in Arlington. We will be set up at the American Management Association. American, why do I want to call it that? Something tells me it's something else. No, that's right. The American Management Association has an executive conference center in Arlington. We will be posted up there for 2 days, and it's long days. It's from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Now, because we are doing this in conjunction with HR.com and SHRM, your registration will not be through us. It will be through them, but we will have the link on the blog, dcurbanmentors.blogspot.com, or you can call headquarters and talk to either myself or Kendra or Colleen, as a matter of fact. So 301-899-0713, 301-899-0713. We will have all the answers for you. I have another number for you where you can actually talk to someone at hr.com, but I don't have it in front of me. I will make sure that I get that posted on the blog as well. So we have you covered with regards to your registration flow, getting you prepared for March's 2-day event. And it is March 30th and the 31st. So it's the last 2 days in March. I'm hoping that you will save the date, and once registration is released, that you will go and waste no time, register. And the reason why I say that is because with those organizations being so huge and with us being in conjunction with them, our space is not exclusively for DC Urban Mentors, which means they will be pushing traffic to register with us as well. I want my mentors in the house. I want you there to learn. For one, I want my mentors to be stocked with the information that they are now pumping leaders to trailblaze with. We need that type of fire. So if you are able to register, I need you in the place. I need your face in place. Okay, so the next event, and I have to say it's going to be an event because for the first time in years, and I mean years, I actually want to celebrate my birthday. Isn't that interesting? Okay, so my birthday is the first week in January. And we are now putting the final touches on hopefully being able to have lunch on January 10th, 1 o'clock, at the Bilbo Baggins restaurant in Alexandria. Now, it is no secret that I am a Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Fern Gully. Yeah, I'm a fan of things like that. My imagination is huge, so. And I just watched last night Something to Neverland, Finding Neverland, Discovering Neverland, but it was surrounded around the Peter Pan story, and Johnny Depp is one of my dudes. He's in it, and he makes me proud because I know he has an elaborate imagination. Anytime you want to do Pirates of the Caribbean and Alice in Wonderland, yeah, you had me at hello. Oh, and he did Willy Wonka. Yeah, he did Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So yeah, I know that we are like mine with regards to imagination. So I was watching that last night and it was absolutely great. So it's a given that I would want to have and celebrate with my peeps in a restaurant called Bilbo Baggins. And it's in one of my most favorite portions of the city, which is Old Town Alexandria. It's right on Queen Street. We're also doing an Eventbrite link with regards to that because you will have to register. Seating is limited, but not really, which means all my mentors, you have the flexibility to have a +1, which means your wife, or you want to bring a buddy with you. Hopefully he's thinking about becoming a mentor, and so we're gonna celebrate my birthday, but it's really a mentors mixer for lunch. Completely social, casual. We will be doing a bit of networking. That's what we're here for. I mean, that's what mentors do, right? But yeah, I want me some ice cream and cake, and I want some birthday love. So I've decided that that's what I'm going to set out and do. I don't know when registration for that is going to be open. Me and Kendra talked about it earlier this morning, and she is like super excited about it. So I know that that's going to be up like within a day or two, and you can go ahead on and start registering for that. It's $20 a person, and that will get you appetizers, lunch, entree, dessert, and 2 drinks. So that's pretty much that. Next thing. The next thing is, what's the next thing, y'all? You say, how should I know? There, you got the stuff in front of you. Here we go. Okay, so in terms of mentoring professional development, you are a mentor, but you are also a leader. You're a communicator. You're a manager. You're a director. So if you work for an organization that allows you learning benefits, which means you can go register for class, they'll cut the check, you can attend, and some organizations will say with the promise of absorbing the information and bringing it back to the crew, that's totally fine. As a mentor, I would like for you to have this particular information. I think it's going to make you a lot more marketable as a professional, period. Okay, so AMA, which is where we're going to be holding the March event. So it's the American Management Association. And as a matter of fact, now that I think about it, I'm going to go ahead on and give you the address so that you will have it. And the address for AMA is 2345 Crystal Drive, Suite 200, Arlington, Virginia 22202. So it's the American Management Association, and it is their executive conference center, and it is located at 2345 Crystal Drive, Suite 200, Arlington, Virginia 22202. And the telephone number there on site is area code 571-481-2200. So jot that down for your point of reference, because something tells me we already know that 2015 is going to be a very robust year for mentors, especially the mentor leaders. There's a lot of trailblazing that needs tending to. There's a lot of pioneering that needs tending to. And now that I think about it, I am going to take a moment or two just to vet, because I am a little disappointed with the level of engagement at this point. Mentorship is not a hard thing to get into. As a matter of fact, it's a lifestyle, it's a paradigm shift. Will you have to learn? Well, yeah, you're going to have to learn for the rest of your life. So why not learn something that's going to allow you to produce from the inside out and then teach others how to do so? It's going to be infused in your conversations. It's not a whole bunch of script and a whole bunch of rules and regulations. It is the dressing to your character and your personality is what it is. And you will be able to really dig your roots into such a concept, and it will deem itself highly beneficial. You will get mounds of return on your investment, and then you will at some point become the intellect. You will become the interpreter of such valuable life and style. So the fact that my phones, I mean, they ring, they're okay, but they're not ringing off the hook with guys wanting to sign up, because let me tell you this. Okay, so my mother turned 79. We had a birthday party for her on the 14th, so it was Sunday just passed. She turned 79th birthday. My sister threw this big, elaborate, beautiful ordeal for her. So everybody showed up. Grandkids, great grandkids. I mean, everybody showed up, right? So of course, me being who I am, I always migrate to the conversation pools of the men. I don't know what that is with me. And I feel this. I'm gonna say it anyway because I'm who I am. The male conversations just seem to be a lot more better to me. I don't like frilly girl conversation. I just don't. I mean, you talking about some bag, or you talking about some weave, or you talking about. I've had 20 years in the salon listening to it, and I guess I'm just like. But anyway, okay, so I go out front, and all of my youngins are standing outside in the driveway. And just conversation, kicking the bobo. And of course, I do my mentor pitch. Now, surprisingly enough, I got good reception. Now, I don't know if because my title as mommy or mom or auntie or big cousin Thea, it was like I had some kind of grounding with that particular audience. So I don't know if it was like, out there, you good, you got me, I sign up, we're gonna hook up this week, and you start training me, and we're gonna get this to going, and we're gonna get that going. I don't know if that was more family support than it was stern intentionality, that they were actually interested in becoming a mentor and joining the movement, and that kind of thing. So I don't know, but I will say that over the last 18 months, when I speak to people about mentorship, especially the males, it's always like, I don't have what it takes to be a mentor. I wouldn't know what to do, or I didn't finish high school, or something else that totally doesn't matter. When I say it doesn't matter, I know that it doesn't matter because I built this. I am the one to put the parameters on if you get in or not. And to tell you the truth, I don't want you if you don't have no struggle on you or in you, because then you won't be able to relate to the target of DC Urban Mentors. I am Peter Pan of the Lost Boys. I know that's what I do. So unless you have a Jeffrey Dahmer type of mentality, 9 times out of 10, I'll train you and find a place for you so that you can become rooted and sustainable and make life a little better for you. I will train you. I will assign you in the field, put you on the job, train you, and make sure that you shine as bright as you were meant to shine. And we'll take some of that social conditioning and some of that, some of that national muck off of you. So, like I say, and to tell you the truth, because right at this moment I'm feeling like that, as long as you don't try to come chop me up in little pieces, and you stay you stay down for the cause, like me, I'm the hawk, I know this. So like, you actually are walking with the light of wanting some type of redemption. You want to redeem yourself in some kind of way, and won't nobody help you. You've been through this, you done this, you got some ugliness attached to your name. Call me and holler at me. Just call me and see what's good. Probably won't like put you in the field immediately, but you can become a scholar. You can at least begin to learn the language so that you may fluently speak it, even if it's just for you. You don't have to actually become an active member in order to join the club. You can just remain as a scholar, which means the information that comes past our radar, it is shared with you so that you may absorb it and just become a better person. So, I'll even take you one better than that. If you don't want to become an active member, watch the videos. Just be committed to going to the library, getting your study room, and hanging out with me. What could it hurt? So, classes at AMA, American Management Association. Classes at AMA at the Arlington location only. I'm only giving information to the Arlington location because that is the only one that is in our area. But they also have classes in San Francisco, New York, Chicago, Atlanta. So they have them all over the place. But Arlington is the only one that's in the DC area. Okay, so there is a class that's called Interpersonal Skills for Managers, and it will be at Arlington, April the 1st through the 3rd. Now, mind you, when I give you information about classes at AMA, these are not workshops. These are courses. They are courses that you could accumulate if need be. You can accumulate CEUs for them, and CEUs is continuing education units. And a lot of accredited bodies will accept CEUs. And I'm looking in the intro to see exactly what those accrediting bodies are. But what I do know for sure is that, here, check this out. Here is AMA's. I think I gave you AMA's number already, but here's the 800 number. The 800 number for AMA, so that you can call and find out about any of the course that I put before you. If you are considering it, you really truly know that this is something that you want to get down with, here, you can call them 800-262-9699. And better yet, when you do, oh, I think I threw it in the trash. Oh, no. DC Urban Mentors. And as a matter of fact, I don't think that it's connected to DC Urban Mentors, but it's connected to my name, Thea M. Wiggins-Clark. That's the full name. My priority code, which means when you call in and inquire or to register about these particular classes, you will give them the priority code X as in X-Man, X, G as in George, F as in Frank, C as in Clark. Okay? X, G, F, C. X as in X-Man, G as in Giraffe, F as in Frank, C as in Clark. Cat, cheer, charisma. So that's the priority code. Okay, so April 1st and the 3rd. April 1st through the 3rd. April 1st through the 3rd. Which is April 1st is a Wednesday. So Wednesday through Friday, you plan to be in Arlington taking the Interpersonal Skills for Managers course. And the reason why I said that if you have the ability to have your organization pay for it as a professional development benefit, it will help, because it's a bit pricey. So if you are not a member of AMA, which you could be, let me do that, because you could be. If you are a member of AMA, your tuition will be $23.45. That is $2,345. If you are I'm sorry, I done screwed all of that up. Erase that last sentence. If you are not a member, it's $23.45. If you are a member, it's $20.95. So AMA members get a $250 discount. So if you are not a member, your tuition will be $2,345. All right, next class is Communication and Interpersonal Skills. Now, this particular one is especially for the IT, the technical professionals. And I have to say, I think it's a good deal, and that's one of the reasons why I highlighted it, because it seems like a lot of my fellas in IT, that communication, yeah, I need you to invest in your ability to communicate effectively. This course is a 2-day course, and it is going down on March 5th and 6th. So March 5th and 6th is a Thursday and a Friday. And this particular course, for non-members, it's $20.95. And for AMA members, it's $1,895. Okay? So if you are not a member, you will be paying $2,095. Okay? So those are the two that I have. There's another one. But I wasn't going to say anything to you about it, but since I flipped to it and it is now saying, Thea, go ahead on and say it, then I'm going to go ahead on and say it. Relationship communication. And it will be in Arlington. This particular course is in Arlington, in Arlington, June 3rd through the 5th. June 3rd. My sister-in-law's birthday is on June 3rd. June 3rd, which is a Wednesday, and it's Wednesday through Friday. So it looks like most of the classes are structured at the end of the week. So it's either Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Thursday and Friday. So this is June 3rd through the 5th at Arlington, Virginia, and it is called Relationship Communication. And this particular one is $2,345 for non-members and $2,095 for AMA members. Okay, so I think that is it for the announcements for right now. As I promised in the last segment, we were going to go over the elements of developing one's emotional intelligence. And when I was undergoing this particular exercise, I took notes. So I'm just going to go off the notes that I had taken. So they are completely subjective to me. So it is written in the first person. And I did not rewrite it for it to be part of official lecture. So just know that as I read this is in reflection to self, which is another element that I think I'm exercising and exampling when I say know thyself. So here we go. Okay, so in this exercise, I had to respond. I'm wondering if I should post the actual assignment on the blog so that you'll be able to follow and absorb better. But I'm going to go ahead and read what I have here, and then we're going to move to the more bigger meat and potato. Okay, so here it is. I am willing to reflect on my own performance and behavior. I am willing to reflect on my own performance and behavior. Do I realize that effective reflection requires me to review the situation with objectivity, honesty, and an open mind? And an open mind means that you are analyzing it with no judgment, meaning I'm not with it or against it. Let me bring it all in, and then I'll let it process for a couple of days, and I'll see how I feel about it. It's more so how you feel than what you think. That's what allows paradigm shifting to come at a bit more ease, is when you go forth with an open mind that you are not going to accept it or reject it. You just going to see how it feels. Okay? Unless I am willing to really embrace what I discover, that whole bringing it in, let you see how I feel, I will not do well with increasing my emotional intel. Unless I am willing to really embrace what I discover, I will not do well with increasing my emotional intel. It starts with self-awareness. And you would probably giggle at me if you came down here and looked around, because it starts with self-awareness is posted everywhere. I need to make sure that is something that I see on a daily basis more than one time. So that's part of my reoccurring visuals around here. Then on to self-management. Next to social awareness, lastly with relationship management. So that's the way that you will come full circle. It comes with knowing thyself, Then managing thyself, knowing others, managing others. And that's the circle. Knowing thyself, managing thyself. It's 25, 25 of the half of the circle. And then you switch it to the other part of the circle and it just does this. It's in 4 quadrants. Knowing thyself, managing thyself. Knowing others, managing others. You have a full circle. That's the way life rolls on a more smooth basis. When you do it that way, make sure, become devoted in knowing thyself. It's first quadrant. Second quadrant is managing thyself. Knowing others, managing others. That's the way I look at it. I think it's pretty cool. It's work. It's been working. It's only by constant reviewing will I attain the reflective cycle that promises me emotional balance and stamina. Constant reviewing. They tell you that the way to genuinely absorb something is through repetitiveness. I'm sitting here trying to think, like, I wonder in a 24-hour span how many times you see or how many times they play a particular commercial or how many times you hear a particular song in a 24-hour span. See, mainstream knows that the power is in your attention. If they are in front of you, if they are in front of the gateways to the soul is through the eyes and the ears. Your visual and your audio, those are the main 2 mechanisms that will leave an imprint on your soul. Your memory, and I don't want to say that it's 2 separate things, but it is. It's the mind and the heart. Collectively is the soul. Imprints on your soul can only come by way of through your eyes or your ears. So what you see and what you listen to is going to churn into what makes you you. That's how it is. That I had a conversation with a mentor not too long ago, and he was like, it really gets on my nerve when black people act white, or when white people act black, or when Asian people act black. And I had to beg to differ, because to tell you the truth, me personally, and I really don't care who agrees, I am who I am because I am. So I actually like that. I like to see a black person who talks or acts white, or a white person who talks or acts black, because you know what that tells me? It tells me that they have been amongst those people. We've been race feuding forever. Even though the divine, our collective divine legend tells us we don't fight against flesh and blood. But day in and day out, we will claim to not like somebody because of their race. I am way above the brim with that. If you're not going to give somebody a chance just because of their race, you are socially conditioned and damn near damaged. Because if you were blind, it wouldn't even be an issue. If you could not see the physical ramifications of one's being, what would we be fighting about? What would be the issue? What would be the issue for real? Okay, so us urban folk have been enslaved, but as I said before, I am finding out that there were plenty of cultures around the globe who were enslaved. It's not just the black folk who were enslaved. It's quite a bit. It's just that America did it real grimy like. And we're going to get to that. That's actually the meat and potatoes I'm going to finally drum up the courage to read this entire piece of content to you. And hopefully, what I'm hoping is that during our mentor mixers, when we lounge and learn together, that we will actually break this down in person. I'm going to give it to you now because I want you to begin to soak and absorb and mull over, chew on it, do whatever you do. So when you do register for the mixer and come and engage, that you'll know what it is that we are engaging in. Okay, so the last one is, during my moments of reflection, I ask myself to focus on my emotional shifts during a particular situation or with a certain set of people. I will allow myself to identify what feelings I felt and flow to determine how appropriate they are. Throughout this evaluation process, I will access my level of impact as it was associated with the incident and my behavior. And the reason why I wrote it the way that I wrote it is because I have a history of acting out. I'm the hawk. I told you this. So when a particular group of folk mixed with uncertainty, not so easy emotions, yeah, I'll blow the roof off the mother. Okay. I've gotten a lot more better in my older age, but yeah, in my 20s and early 30s, it was bad. It was bad. It was bad. It was real bad. So I think that's one of the reasons why I decided to really dig into the elements of emotional intel, because I was falling apart over here. Like life literally sucked, and I had to find solution, and I knew only I could do it. Pretty much all of my life, I've been in and out of the offices of therapists and psychoanalysts and psychiatrists, antidepressants and all this craziness, and still felt like crap. I mean, like seriously, like seriously, is this all life has to offer? You got to be freaking kidding me. So I had to dig in for myself, and that's how I came to be. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this. You can see I kind of had an entire layout for what it is that we were going to talk about. But I think I'm going to hold that for the next session, the next segment, because here before me is, real quick before I get into the main part. Okay, so Sister Shahrazad Ali, and I think you can, yes, Sister ShahrrazadAli.com. So it's Sister SHAHRAZAD Ali.com has a website where you can go and purchase her book that is titled The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman, or there's another one that's called The Black Woman's Guide Understanding the Black Man. And I have to say that I am intriguedly in support of both. I think it'll be a good read. It's nothing mandatory right at this moment, but it does solidify, will give you go forward information. To us urban folk. And by no means do I endorse it 100%, because I'm telling you, Sister Ali, she get crunk with it sometimes. But her message is powerful, and it is genuine, and it's very, very relative. So at least check it out. Maybe we can get a teleconference series going on about that particular content. But that's way down the road. We got enough going on as it is. Okay, so I'm going to read this letter to you. Many of you probably are familiar with it. I'm going to read the entire thing. So if you need to break it here, go to the bathroom, get you something to drink, check your emails, return texts, all that you do. If you need to tidy up on that, I advise you to pause it here. And so let me see where we are just to give you a good benchmark. We are at 45:20. So we are 45 minutes and 24.5 seconds in. So you'll know where to pick it back up at. So here's the deal. You all know I used to do hair. It was 20 years in the salon. Now, I say 20 years in the salon only because it's just clean and crisp that way. But throughout those 20 years, I've been a hairstylist in several barbershops. And I have to say, I love my barbers. I have learned so much. And the atmosphere in a barbershop versus a salon is something, I don't know if it's just me because I am who I am, how it was such a resource hub. Yeah, your shenanigans flow through there. I mean, that we're human. It's going to happen. But it seems like I found more context in just my urban living as a result of weaving in and out of conversations that were taking place at the barbershop. Hence, what I am about to read to you. I know that if I had not been an employee of that particular barbershop at that particular time, it probably would have taken me a while before I was introduced to this here particular content. So it says, greetings. Oh, and let me disclose right now, I am going to say the words as I read them. For the last 2 days, I was wondering about being politically correct and wondering if I should substitute some words for other words. And then I figured that I was going to start to water down the content, and that's not what I want to do. I'm going to give it to you in its most authentic form, and you can get a copy of this on the internet. You go on the internet, type it in, do your little search, it will pop up. That's another reason why I'm going to read it exactly the way that it is, because when you do finally lay eyes on it, if you haven't already, I am asking you, I'm advising you, actually kind of begging you to break this joint apart, to analyze it, to become familiar with it. To tell you the truth, if you could print it out and pull out your highlighter, I would be forever grateful. The urban folk of the nation will be forever grateful, because mentors need to understand the breakdown of this here content. Okay? And I say mentors, but really, to tell you the truth, if you are of the urban life, if you are inner city content, if you are an inner city being, you should have your hands on this. Hang on, y'all. I was trying to zoom it in a little bit more so I didn't lose it, because this is a massive document. So it says, greetings, gentlemen. I greet you here on the bank of the James River in the year of our Lord 1712. First, I shall thank you, the gentlemen of the colony of Virginia, for bringing me here. I am here to help you solve some of your problems with slaves. Your invitation reached me on my most modest plantation in the West Indies, where I have experimented with some of the newest and still the oldest methods for controlling slaves. Ancient Rome would envy us if my program is implemented. as our boat sailed south on the James River, named for our illustrious king, whose version of the Bible we cherish, I saw enough to know that your problem is not unique. While Rome used cords of wood as crosses for standing human bodies along its highways in great numbers, you are here using the tree and the rope on occasion. I caught a whiff of a dead slave hanging from a tree a couple of miles back. You are not only losing valuable stock by hangings, you are having uprisings. Slaves are running away. Your crops are sometimes left in the fields too long for maximum profit. You suffer occasional fires. Your animals are killed. Gentlemen, you know that your problems are. Gentlemen, you know what your problems are. I do not need to elaborate. I am not here to enumerate your problems. I am here to introduce you to a method of solving them. In my bag here, I have a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that, if installed correctly, will control the slaves for at least 300 years. And I always do this, man, because I know it ain't going nowhere, but I just need to do it. So we take 2014 and we subtract it from 1712, and it gives you 302 years. They got 2 years in on us, okay? And see, my whole thing is, I don't necessarily blame white folk, because I know that I fight against the principalities of darkness, which means it floats, it jumps, it's non-conforming. Okay, so the Bama said 300 years, right? Okay, so he gave them a 300-year guarantee on this here concept. Now, I want you to, I'm going to pause it for 2 seconds where I am, because I need to read to you the premise of the reason why I decided to read this whole thing in the first place. Okay? So, here is what it is. So, unless a phenomenon occurs and reshifts the position of the male and female slaves. So he is saying that it is guaranteed beyond there, which I'm going to get to in a little bit. But he said 300, which was the minimum. 300 was the minimum, meaning that it could go into centuries. I mean, like major legendary centuries, unless a phenomenon occurs and reshifts the position of the male and the female. So this, as DC Urban Mentors, that's our brand. That's what sets us apart from all the rest. And it's not that we are in competition with regards to mentorship, but I know that there is a classification of quality when you talk about mentorships, because you are talking about one giving of him or herself for the grooming and the betterment, for the betterment, for the encouragement and the nurturing of yet another being. DC Urban Mentors will understand that they are the force that's occurring to reshift the positioning of the male and the female. I believe it starts with the man first. That's why I'm here. The Lost Boys. It starts with that concentrated demographic of black men, urban knights and bravehearts. It's time for the paradigm shifting to happen. We don't have any more time, okay? We've already given them 2 extra years, okay? 2 years ago was when all of this should have been flipping around. Now I have to say, me being in my whole I hate life thing probably has a little bit to do with the reason why you are viewing this now and not 2 years ago. Okay, I'll kind of take that beef a little bit. But we're here now. And so it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. My method is simple. Any member of your family or your overseer can use it, which means he made it very comprehensible to the point where the kids could use it. So that means as mentors, we need to understand that when we begin to break it down for folk, we need to be able to break it down to the simplest terms to the point where our children will be able to receive it and maximize off of it. Because we have to counteract what he put in place. That's the only way this is going to break. Everybody's talking about, you need to stop blaming the white man for all the things and that's been happening to you in your life. Okay, granted, I'm with it. But what do you do to replace that? What do you do instead? Here is the beginning of what we do instead. You won't know where you're going unless you know where you've been. That's my whole purpose for reading this to you and sharing it with you, because it's breakdown time. It's shakedown time. Get this in your face and mull over it. I need you to think about it. I need your wheels to turn. I need you to brainstorm about it. As a matter of fact, if you really want to make me proud, make your chief proud. Make her proud. Make her proud and schedule study groups. You can do the study hall at the library. If you are a DC resident and you have a DC library card, and I'm pushing DC because that's where my heart is. I was born there. Regardless of me migrating between Maryland and Virginia, I am still a born and raised Washingtonian. So that's where it's going to start at. That's where the robustness is going to get its momentum, right there in my lovable streets of Chocolate City. So if you want to make me proud, you have a DC library card. You can go and reserve a study room that sits about 15 people, and you could just put the word out. Look, we can ready to go sit down and study this. And if you feel in your heart that you won't be able to keep up because you didn't graduate high school, don't worry about it. Believe me, they're going to be enough. This is what I want you to say. There are going to be enough men there that will coach you through this. We, the ones who can read, we will read it to you. We're not alienating anybody because we already know that the whole damn ploy was to make sure that you remained ignorant. That was the whole thing. We're not going to judge you on that. We are not going to hold that against you. What we're going to do is pump you in some insight so that the words will flow, and then as you build your confidence, you're going to learn the language. You're going to learn to read. You're going to learn to add, subtract, and do all of that. It is not a blemish against you in our crew. You come to our crew so that you can learn how to build yourself up to overthrow this 300-year bullshit. Okay, so I digress. All right, I can feel my shoulders tensing up. All right there. Okay, so my method is simple. Any member of your family or your overseer can use it. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. Now you need to understand that 300 years, when I say they, it has nothing to do with skin color or race. Whoever is with it, they fall into the they category. If you are the oppressor, you're part of the they. You're part of that crew. Because I'm not racially bound. Because to tell you the truth, the color of your skin, I really don't give a shit. No matter what your race is, you can still be a jerk. Or you could be just as kind-hearted and lovable and wonderful. So I don't get caught up in all that. You're not going to have me. And the reason why I say this is because I had always been the oddball. Always. Like the weirdo. I was always the weirdo. So when you are labeled the weirdo, you don't trip off of the arrogance of race. Because you want to take your friends as they come. You're not in a position to be picking and choosing. So I have to say, all my quirks in life, even though Back then they just seemed like such heartache. No, now I understand it all, and I'm glad that I don't have that whole, you white, I don't want to deal with you. Whatever. If you got a good heart, yeah, you can be part of my crew. Okay, so I have outlined a number of differences. Hold on, I think this is a little loud. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, okay, so I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. Now, this just had me think about something because I've been studying this here piece of content. I was first introduced to it in 2006. And then for a couple of years, I kind of lost wind of it. Got all caught up in the whole social, gotta be out in the spotlight type thing. And then when poverty struck me like a thief in the night, and when you don't got no coins, folk don't really want to deal with you. It's like, yeah, well, we had, we went out last week. Well, and all of my friends are divas, or the pockets are not necessarily deep, but they don't hurt, so they can go out week on week on week at a time, and not even talk about the single ones. Like, the single ones really get it crunk, like new outfit, gotta come get their head done, woo woo woo, hit the Mac counter, do the little Estee Lauder. So after a while I couldn't hang. Like, I don't have nothing. I don't even have no money to put gas in the car. I'm telling you, it was bad. So what else do you have left? Like, you gonna either sit and become part of the boob tube club, and I'm not a big TV watcher, so that didn't work for long. I was running out of books, and then I just kind of got with my content, because I always thought that there's no way I'm going to die like this. I know what it's like to have the finer things in life. And I know what it's like to give up good work a good, good, I'm talking about put in good time. There was times or moments in my life where I was working an 80-hour job, an 80-hour pay week, an 80-hour, yeah, per pay period. Per my pay periods, the base was 80 hours. And in the last couple of years before poverty had struck me, I was on salary. So I had I was on the more plush level of the ladder when it came to my professionalism. And then I did hair in the salon part time. So that's like leaving work at 5 o'clock, getting to the salon by 7, and 7 to 10. And I did that Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I was in that joint from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday. And some days, some Sundays, not all Sundays, but there were a couple of Sundays, whether it was a wedding or a prom or something was going on the next day or whatever have you. So I've done some Sundays too. So my work ethic, my work horsepower was never ever an issue. It was just my ability to know thyself and love thyself and have confidence in thyself, so that I could find other ways to regenerate income. Okay, so all of that to say that that's when I reunited with this here content. And then, because I was feeling so yucky and feeling like I didn't have anything to contribute to the world, I just continued to read it and read it and read it. And it took me to go research this person and go find out what history was like back then. And so that's what I did. I used this to propel me into different areas of intellectual property. And so, full circle, we are here now where even today, earlier today, I went through my wondering if I was going to read this exactly the way that it is, because it is kind of harsh. And then I said, say all of that to say that there were moments when I discovered folk who said that this particular letter is not real, and that Willie Lynch is sort of like urban legend and all of the other kind of whatever it is. And I can't say that I agree or disagree, because the fact of the matter is, if Willie Lynch is not true and this was drummed up, it so brings light and understanding to what the motive. Remember last segment? I told you, you have to start tuning into folks' motive. The motive. That's the reason why I'm holding on to this and decided to read the whole thing, because I need you to get in tune to what the motive of your society was to be when they brought you over here. And I say you, meaning it's the ancestral chain. When they brought us, our bloodline, when they brought us over here in chains and not knowing the language. This was what the motive was after a while, when things started to run amok, because they hadn't thought it all the way through, right? Okay, so these methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. Take this simple little list of differences and think about them. Now you see, he gives them this letter, and he tells them not to do anything. The first thing he tells them to do is think about it. So you got to understand, you are your thoughts, and what you think, once you infuse that with emotion, will bring forth action or no action. So that's the first thing that he told them to do, was to think about it. You have to think about the differences. On top of my list is age, but it's there only because it starts with an A. The second is color or shade. There is intelligence, size, sex, size of plantations, and status on plantations, attitude of owners, whether the slaves live in the valley, on a hill, east, west, north, south, have fine hair, have coarse hair, is tall or short. So that was the list of the demographics of what he used fear, distrust, and envy to control. Okay? Now you have a list of differences. I shall give you an outline of action, but before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy is stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. So before he even gets down into conceptualizing what it is he wants them to do with these differences, he opens up and points their attention to the strongholds immediately. He lets them know where the strength is. So the strength is in fear, distrust, and envy. And for you to understand how to manipulate it, understand that distrust is stronger than trust. Envy is stronger. Distrust is stronger. Envy is stronger. It takes no effort for distrust to kick in, and it can go into a snowball effect in 2.2 seconds, and next thing you know, you had all kinds of crap and shenanigan going on, conflict. Why do you think conflict management coaches make a killing? And I thought about going into that realm, but I didn't want to have to deal with conflict from the time I got in to the time I left. I was already a ball of conflict. I was like, I will probably go into the loony bin if I decided to chase the dollars. Like, okay, so I already know with my temperament and my skill of thought that if I go into conflict management, I could rack up. Like, then there would be no more, little family chitter chatter about how broke I am. it would no longer be to the fact that, I could pitch in to help do this, and the third. The financial bearing would be sweet right off the break. I have the charisma to be able to explain conflict when I see it. But then I was thinking, like, okay, so what if I break down like within 18 months of being certified? That ain't gonna be no fun. Yeah, I'll have the skill. I'm gonna go and chase this whole conflict management realm because they racking in the dough. having nervous breakdown. I'm trying to get away from all of that. So that was a determining factor. I was like, nah, I just can't do it. Okay, so okay, so now that you have a list of differences, I shall give you an outline of action. But before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. The black slaves, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self refueling and self generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. For real? Us urban folk, starting with the men, my brave hearts and urbanites, you mean to tell me that this is what he's guaranteeing? Who can give a guarantee like that? Sears don't give it, Apple don't give it, Black and Decker don't give it, Whirlpool, Maytag, none of them can give a 300-year guarantee on any service or product. Come on. Don't forget, you must pitch the old black males against the young black males and the light-skinned slaves against the dark-skinned slaves. You must use the female against the male and the male against the female. You must also have white servants or overseers who distrust all blacks. But it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They, them over there. Okay? See, even though they were white, there was still clusters of white folk that were being just as brainwashed as black folk. You must also have white servants and overseers who distrust all blacks. So they were being brainwashed too. So understand, the ancestors of those white servants also have a mentality of servitude, which means all white folk were not part of this. Okay? That's what I need my DC urban mentors to understand. If you black and want to stay ignorant and you want to keep holding on to this bull, by all means, do what you do. If you are a DCU mentor, understand that you do not judge by the color of one's skin, but by the character of one's personality. Okay? All right. But it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust us only. Gentlemen, these kits are your keys to control. And you know I'm the keeper of the keys, right? I understand dark keys when I see them. I understand the unlocking of its dark potential. Some things you just should not lay your eyes on or open your ears to. They did. The gentlemen, they did. Okay, fine. Gentlemen, these kits are the keys to control. Use them. Have your wives and your children use them. Never miss an opportunity. And that's what I want to tell us as a collective body of mentors. We cannot continue to miss out on our opportunities. Oprah Winfrey says that luck is when preparation meets opportunity. See, it's all kind of opportunities swarming around here for us urban folk. We just aren't prepared to seize it. We cannot miss. He told them not to miss any opportunities. I'm telling you, let's not miss the opportunities. We can't keep missing opportunities. That's why we're the lowest on the cultural totem pole, because we be missing out on our opportunities. No one missing out on opportunities if used intensely for 1 year. So then I'm going to put it out there. All my DCU all-stars, all my DC urban mentors, mentor leaders, and mentor all-stars, we are going to intensely overthrow this. 1 year. He only gave him 1 year, so we can rock this out in 12 months. I already told you 2015 gonna be one robust type of year. Let's make 2015 the shakedown. We're turning all this over. We're gonna intensely, 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 and intentionally for 1 year work. So we're gonna get rich or die trying. And I'm not talking, when I say get rich, I ain't talking about that fake ass American currency. I ain't talking about it. I'm talking about mentally rich. We're going to become mentally and emotionally rich or die trying. That's the reason why we remain where we are as a cultural element of American soil. I ain't gonna say America, on the United States soil, is because we were robbed of our intellectual and emotional richness. We're gonna get that back. So, if used intensely for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful. Thank you, gentlemen. So that was the speech that took place on the infamous hill of Virginia at the James River. So, let's make a slave. Let's make a slave. It was the interest and business of slaveholders to study human nature. I used to wonder why I was always drawn to the elements of human nature. I had no idea why I would just sit in a room full of people and just study people. I don't have to have a conversation with you. I would prefer to be the fly on the wall. I really would. I like to watch humans in their natural habitat. And I make this joke all the time. So if you know me, you know, you've heard it a couple of times. If you're just getting to know me, you will hear it. Bet on hearing it a couple of times. There are people who bird watch, and there are people who, watch grizzly bears, and I people watch. And it's quite the hobby, actually. So it says, it was the interest and business of slaveholders to study human nature, and the slave nature in particular, with a view of practical results. I and many of them attained astonishing proficiency in this direction. They had to deal not with earth, wood, and stone, but with men, and by every regard they had for their own safety and prosperity, they needed to know the material on which they were to work. By every regard they had for their own safety and prosperity, needed to know the material on which they were to work. And now I'm scrolling. Frederick Douglass' Let's Make a Slave is a study of the scientific process of man breaking and slave making. It describes the rationale and results of the Anglo-Saxons' ideas and methods of ensuring the master-slave relationship. So socially, they have it demographically honed down to having it termed something within the social element of the United States. Let's Make a Slave, the original and development of a social being called the Negro. That's your demographic. I have decided, like I said, I'm not going with that African American bullshit. I'm not going to do the Negro. It all depends on me doing the nigger because for real, I use it to break it down. Don't be moved by the word. It's a word that could not have any type of emotion attached to it if you don't let it. It could be the difference between somebody saying nigger and somebody saying hey you wouldn't drum up some kind of psychobabble angry bird type of syndrome if somebody said hey you. And the only reason why you are emotionally and combustible when it comes to that word is because how the context it's been used throughout the generations. Well, if you make it in your mind, just make the conscious decision that it means absolutely nothing but white ignorance. That's all it means. That's all it means. So then it probably will make it, if you look at it that way, if you shift your paradigm to accept it that way, then it probably will make a lot more sense when you get ready to use it in the context you use it, whether you're around your boys, whether you know, in your, however you use it, whenever you use it, that you will begin to have a conscious mechanism that pops up to let you know that you are now using European ignorance. That's the European ignorance slang for a black person. Just like we call them honkies and crackers and so that's the urban ignorance of slang when we refer to them when we refer to Caucasian folk, European folk, folk of a pale skin coloring. Um, See, the thing about it is, I don't have a problem with anyone per se, but because I have grown up a black woman in DC, yeah, I know how to talk the talk. So I have to make sure, because I am in teacher mode right now, that I keep it pleasant. I have to keep it pleasant. Okay, let us make a slave. What do we need? First of all, we need a black nigger man, a pregnant nigger woman, and her baby nigger boy. Second, we will use the same basic principle that we used in breaking a horse, combined with some more sustaining factors. What we do with horses is that we break them from one form of life to another. That is, we reduce them from their natural state in nature. We reduce them. We reduce them from their natural state in nature. Whereas nature provides them with the natural capacity to take care of their offspring. So you got to understand the motive. Understand the freaking motive. That's why it pisses me off for some black chica. And I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to find other words to clean that up. Because believe me, I have capability. I know how to switch in and out of words to make them flow a lot pleasantly. I'm wondering if I want that joint to just stay like it is so that it can give a nice little bang. I'm not all for calling women itches. I don't do that all that much, but I will. So I will say that the urban woman that does not understand the motive of her ancestry to, whereas nature provides them with the natural capacity to take care of their offspring, we break that natural string of independence from them and thereby create a dependency status so that we may be able to get from them useful production for our business and our pleasure. For a black woman to not understand that pisses me off. I know what it's like to go sit up in child support court and be totally humiliated, and then to add insult to injury, handcuffed and shuffled the fuck up out of there because I didn't have the means to pay child support. I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to have all of your parental indiscretions spurred out over the loudspeaker of the courtroom in front of countless strangers, and I swear child support enforcement And I'm gonna say these women because I've never had a man do all of this, but I swear the women in child support court stand up and they really get the ragging it off like we owe them. And Yana, you know, she owe woo 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 woo. And my whole thing is like, and I filled out all these applications and like calling me back. You know, y'all really think that I'd be sitting at home just eating bonbons and twiddling my goddamn thumbs? You think I'm really ducking and dodging to not pay my child support? Are you serious? And ain't none of y'all Bamas called me. Nobody, not a mediator, not nobody, nothing. Nobody's called me, had any type of constructive conversation with me, not one iota. And then you all gonna get up here in this courtroom. Every 90 days, I gotta shuffle in here to this courtroom that literally drains my soul for you to ramble off my indiscretions. Don't you think I know this already? And you get paid to do this. You waste the court's time, resources, and energy to go from man to man. I was the only woman in the courtroom, so I'll say man to man. All the non-custodial parents, we all got to sit up in there and one by one file in there and sit in the hot seat and listen to all of this spilling over from child support enforcement to have the damn judge eyebrow you down and frown his face up at you and tell you that you ain't doing this and you ain't doing that and your license is suspended and you better have some kind of change by the time you come back in here. I'm telling you, just by that ordeal alone, I knew I was going to hang myself. I was like, if I got to come in this courtroom one more time, I'm going to just shoot myself. I don't want to do this anymore. This is ridiculous. So, believe me, whereas nature provides them with the natural capacity to take care of their offspring, we break that natural string of independence from them. We break that natural string of independence from them and thereby create a dependency status so that they may be able so that we may be able to get from them useful production for our business and our pleasure. So the cardinal principles for making a Negro slave. For fear that our future generations may not understand the principles of breaking both of the beasts together, the nigger and the horse, we understand that short-range planning economics results in... Was I saying that too fast? We understand that short-range planning economics results in periodic economic chaos. So that to avoid turmoil in the economy, it requires us to have breadth and depth in long-range comprehensive planning, articulating both skill sharp perceptions. There's that paradigm, that perception thing. Whew. We lay down the following principles for long-range comprehensive economic planning. We lay down the following principles for long-range comprehensive economic planning. So just know, when we get together, mentors, when we do our mixers, even though we're in some instances we're lounging and learning, and in some instances we are totally socializing and networking, whatever it is that we do, we know that we are going to be lining up to lay down the following principles for long-range comprehensive economic planning. We don't know exactly what those principles are going to be, but I guarantee you, if I have it my way, my all-stars are going to start brainstorming about those particular principles. The particular principles strong enough to overthrow this here shit here, okay? So whatever it is that he told them to do, we're going to be telling our mentors to do, okay? So I need everybody to understand that I'm reading this because I am looking for those that have the ability to flip this. I need you to understand how to flip this, okay? I don't necessarily want to say that I'm the opposite of Willie Lynch, and I am here breaking down this as he stood up on a hill and broke it down to them. I am now on the opposite, the phenomenon. I am now here to introduce to you the starting point for breaking down the phenomenon. So whatever it is that he told them to do, we're going to do the opposite. We're working to overthrow this. Following principles for long-range comprehensive economic planning. So all my economic, what is it called? I'm trying to think, why am I not, that word is, I want to, okay, so for my economic planners, but you are called an economist. So all of my urban economists who know and are very familiar with long range comprehensive economic planning, I need you to call us 301-899-0713. Call us and let us know that you will sign up to come aboard. At some point, you already know it's going to be all hands on deck. The more the merrier, especially if you are of urban nature and you have some economic planning juice. We need some of that. Both horse and niggers are no good to the economy in the wild or natural state. Both must be broken and tied together for orderly production. For orderly future, special and particular attention must be paid to the female and the youngest offspring. Both must be cross-bred to produce a variety and division of labor. Both must be taught to respond to a peculiar new language. Psychological and physical instruction of containment must be created for both. We hold We hold the 6 cardinal principles as truth to be self-evident based upon following the discourse concerning the economics of breaking and tying the horse and the nigger together, all inclusive of the 6 principles laid down above. Note, neither principle alone will suffice for good economics. All principles must be employed for orderly good of the nation. Accordingly, both a wild horse and a wild or natural nigger is dangerous even if captured, for they will have the tendency to seek their customary freedom and in doing so might kill you in your sleep. You cannot rest. See, fear. See, he was even using the power of fear on them, because if they are scared of being killed in their sleep, if they're fearful of that, then that's like the guarantee that they are going to begin implementing this, because they don't want to get killed in their sleep. Incredible. They sleep while you are awake and are awake while you are asleep. I've heard that in the hood so many times, and not in relation to the black-white relationship, the black-black relationship, that black-on-black relationship. You will hear them say, yeah, they out hanging out all night and sleep all day. I've heard it. I've grown up in it. They are dangerous near the family house, and it requires too much labor to watch them away from the house. Above all, you cannot get them to work in this natural state. Hence, both the horse and the nigger must be broken. That is, breaking them from one form of mental life to another. Keep the body, take the mind. Hence, both the horse and the nigger must be broken. That is breaking them from one form of mental life to another. Keep the body, take the mind. Is that not what we are seeing the product of at this day and age? December 17th, 2014. Is that not what we are witnessing? I know that's what I'm witnessing. I know I got various lenses that I see through. But if I stand alone, I'd be amazed, which I know that I don't, which means, yo, listen up. Keep the body, take the mind. It's time to put that shit to a cease. It's time to stop that. It's time to stop that. Get your own mind back. Do not allow them to continue to distract you and have your mind and your attention span all over the place, buying Jordans and Nikes and Polo and Timberland. No, no, no. In other words, break the will to resist. See, y'all don't resist when it comes to making all that money and go spending it at the mall. They have broken your will to resist. And it used to amaze me how I could see my supervisor making over $400,000 a year. She made over $400,000 a year and wouldn't come to work with name brand nothing and drove a Honda. And that's not the only one, but that's the one that really baffled me because I was her assistant. I saw I got a chance to see her contract. So I have to say that's probably the only supervisor that I know where I truly knew what she was getting paid. I saw it. And I'm thinking, and this wasn't no brand new Honda either. Now, that's not to say she was raggedy. She was not. She was really well kept. But she didn't do all that designer name shit. She didn't do all that. She was very immaculate, but nah, she just wasn't. And married with kids. Like I have even seen pictures of her children. Now, that's not to say that they're all like that, but I know that their will to resist was never compromised, so they have better take on what it is that they will spend their money on. They don't have to worry about acceptance, so they don't go and spend these astronomical amounts of funds on keeping the par. You know, they don't need to do all of that. That's a product of our environment. They do it because they got it. We do it for acceptance. And that's not collectively and saying everybody do it that way. But I'm just saying, as urban folk, we have been anchored down with the dogma that we have to keep up with appearances in order to just be taken seriously. So just know that was already part of the motive. That was already part of the package for them to break the will to resist. Now, the breaking process is the same for both the horse and the nigger, only slightly varying in degrees. But as we said before, there is an art in long-range economic planning. I need my economist to call me. It's an art. So that means if you're really good, and don't be trying to call me because you want to slap some big, great old invoice to me. This is not a money-making venture. This is a heart-based, I care about the movement type deal. So I am going to come on board, lend my expertise, lend my knowledge. I am going to use my skill and my talent to advance the betterment of my people. That's what this is about. This is not by any means a source of capitalism. It is not. Everything that I have been doing with regards to my mentoring projects have literally been free. I generate some income, but I'm still below the poverty line. So I already know this is not one of the bling bling segments of the industry. But it's okay because my heart does something phenomenal with all of this. So I'm doing it because I absolutely love it. I am so in love with all of this. I don't think you could take me away from it. I think that if the profession of mentorship actually wanted to divorce me, I will probably contest it to the grave. Yeah, no, you're not going to depart from me. I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna keep being around you. I'm gonna keep making sure that I give you my absolute very best, because that's just what this is. Because of this shit right here. Mm. You must keep your eye and thoughts on the female and the offspring of the horse and the nigger. A brief discourse in offspring development. A brief discourse in offspring development will shed light on the key to sound economic principles. Pay little attention to the generation of the original breaking. See, so back then in 1712, so from 1712 maybe to the early 1900s, that was the original generation. They say pay little attention to them, but concentrate. And when you read this, you will see that it is in big black bold letters that it says, but concentrate on future generation. Okay, so DC Urban Mentors, that is a directive, that is a firm directive. Concentrate on future generation. Therefore, if you break the female mother, she will break the offspring in its early years of development, and when the offspring is old enough to work, she will deliver it up to you. For her normal female protective tendencies will have been lost in the original breaking process. For example, take the case of the wild stud horse, a female horse and an already infant horse, and compare the breaking process with two captured nigger males in their natural state, a pregnant nigger woman and her infant offspring. Take the stud horse, break him for limited containment. Completely break the female horse until she becomes very gentle, whereas you or anybody can ride her in her comfort. Breed the mare and the stud until you have the desired offspring. Then you can turn the stud to freedom until you need him again. Train the female horse whereby she will eat from your hand, and she will train, train the infant horse to eat out of your hand also. Has anybody ever wondered how welfare and public assistance was conceived? Because you got to understand, Department of Social Services was not always in existence. Had any black person, and I'm saying this with me included, because for real, I didn't start thinking about this till like a year ago on this level. Who 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 thinks about that? Who thinks about the conception of Department of Social Services and public assistance and welfare? Then you can turn the stud to freedom until you need him again. Train the female horse whereby she will eat out of your hand. She gets that monthly check and her food stamps. And she will train the infant horse to eat out of your hand as well. So for each kid, you get more. You're in an apartment, then they have all these rules and regulations about the men can't come and live, and if he can come, he can work, and all this other kind of raggedy ass shit. When it comes to breaking the uncivilized nigger, use the same process, but vary the degree and step up the pressure so as to a complete reversal of the mind. But vary the degree and step up the pressure so as to do a complete reversal of the mind. Take the meanest and most restless nigger, strip him of his clothes in front of The remaining male niggers, the female and the nigger infant, tar and feather him, tie each leg to a different horse faced in opposite directions, set him afire, and beat both horses to pull him apart in front of the remaining niggers. The next step is to take a bullwhip and beat the remaining nigger males to the point of death in front of the female and the infant. Do not kill him, but put fear of God in him, for he can be useful for future breeding. And what I want you to understand is that I share this for your information, not for your anger. Okay? All this vigilante going and tearing up shit and being hostile and being angry ain't gonna get you nowhere. We've been doing that. We've been doing all of that. You know, mad or we've even taken on the concept of MLK. Okay, so Dr. King says nonviolence. Let's try to square this and do this diplomatically, like lay down your arms. We've tried all of it except for overthrowing this. We've tried all of the alternatives to us within the physical realm. We never decided to go inward, make it an inside job, make it a one person inside job, shift my paradigms, learn more about me, manage me, and then branch out, grow from the inside out. Everything that we've tried seemed to have always been more of the physical nature, like the silent protest and, stand, all of us bunch up, stand in front of courthouse, you sing Kumbaya. Don't get me wrong, singing Kumbaya helps. But this is where it begins. This is where it has to be. This is the phenomenon that will overthrow the 300-year guarantee. You have to start, get in there and woosah and let the collective energies of the divine just kind of flow around you and let it begin to marinate in your psyche. Now I wonder, do I interrupt my video? Because we are almost done. Oh, that's AMA calling.
Hey, this is Thea.
Oh, now you have to listen to my whole
But you're welcome to leave a message, and I'll call you back as soon as I can.
Just let it flow.
Thanks for calling, and have a great day.
That's weird. Now you're gonna listen to my message. And now I'm totally off, so I'm gonna have to let it play out.
Hi, Thea. It's Pam Sperling with American Management Association. I am so sorry that I did not get back to you this morning. We were having voicemail problems. I didn't see a blinking light until I got an additional voicemail at about 1:30 this afternoon, and when I picked it up, yours was there. So I do apologize. I would have called you back bright and early this morning.
No problem.
In any event, I'm here for the rest of the day and all day Thursday and Friday. I'll be away from my desk tomorrow between 11 and 1. But otherwise, I'm here. My number is 1-800-854-4493 at extension 2226. Again, I apologize, Thea, and I do look forward to talking with you. Bye-bye.
Sorry about that. Like, I really didn't, and I don't know how to pause it, and maybe I do. Maybe I could have paused it. I probably could. No, I couldn't have, because if I'd have paused it, then it would have made me record all over, and we almost done. So sorry that you had to hear all of that. But that's our account rep with AMA, American Management Association over in Arlington. Her name is Pam Sperling. um, 9 times out of 10, especially my all stars, those that will begin to help us build the structure of DC Urban Mentors, you probably work with Pam quite a bit. So you got a sneak preview on the nice lady. Okay, so let's see here. The process of breaking the African woman. Take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desires willingly. Test her in every way because she is the most important factor for good economics. If she shows any sign of resistance and submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her to extract that last bit of bitch out of her. Take care not to kill her, for in doing so, you spoil good economics. When in complete submission, she will train her offsprings in the early years to submit to labor when they become of age. Understanding is the best thing. Understanding is the best thing. Therefore, we shall go deeper into this area of the subject matter concerning what we have produced here in this breaking process of the female nigger. I still saying it, it just makes me wanna not, but we're gonna get through this. We have reversed the relationship in her natural uncivilized state. She would have a strong dependency on the uncivilized nigger male, and she would have a limited protective tendency toward her independent male offspring and would raise male offsprings to be dependent like her. Nature had provided for this type of balance. We reversed nature by burning and pulling a civilized nigger apart and bullwhipping him and bullwhipping the other to the point of death, all in her presence. By her being left alone, unprotected, with the male image destroyed, the ordeal causes her to move from her psychologically dependent state to a frozen, independent state. In this frozen psychological state of independence, she will raise her male and female offspring in reversed roles. For fear of the young male's life, she will psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. For fear of her young male's life, she will psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent and physically strong, but physically strong. Because she has become psychologically independent, she will train her female offspring to be psychologically independent. What have you got? You've got the nigger woman out front and the nigger man behind and scared. Is this not? I'm just wondering. So then, you, like I said before, you got to understand that they have been perfecting and honing this craft to destroy the male image and to reduce the will to resist. They have been crafting this for over 300 years. So when you wonder how it is that the black woman, if she got very aggressive and she went and got her degree, that they would pay her really, really well. They would not pay her as well as her white counterpart, but they would still pay her on a pay scale that is much grander than what maybe her boyfriend is making. If you don't think that that is all strategy, this is the perfect situation of sound sleep and economics. Before the breaking process, we had to be alertly on guard at all times. Now we can sleep soundly, for out of frozen fear, his woman stands guard for us. He cannot get past her early slave molding process. He is a good tool, now ready to be tied to the horse at a tender age. By the time a nigger boy reaches the age of 16, he is soundly broken in and ready for a long life of sound and efficient work and the reproduction of a unit for good labor force. And just like I had said many, many, many times before, and I really don't care who you are, I will tell you in a minute. We came over here in chains, not knowing the language. We were the hired help. Our bloodline was solely meant for their businesses and their pleasure. That's not to say that those ancestors of those that brought our ancestors over here should still be taken up the gripe for that, the grudge for that, because I am one to say I'm not judging. I wasn't back then, so I can't hold on to that grudge. Now I don't particularly like the fact that you whooped on my ancestors, but that's the reason why I'm going to continue to embrace my being and increase my intellectual value so that I know how to counteract such shenanigans. We have to turn it around. It can't be turned around with anger. You can be angry about the cause and the circumstance, but not with the flesh and the blood. See, it shifts it. So when folks say don't be angry, oh, I'm gonna be angry. I'm just not gonna be angry with you. I'm gonna be angry with the source and the cause. And that's where I place my anger, which means as long as I'm mad at the principality of this here, I'm going to continue to chew at it until I am able to get my revenge on this, not them, this. I am going to get my revenge to overthrow this here concept that had all my folk in bondage. I'm going to get rich or I'm going to die trying. That's my motto. I got a whole bunch of mottos, but that's the one we're leading with right now. This is the perfect situation of sound sleep and economics. Before the breaking process, we had to be alertly on guard at all times. Now we can sleep soundly out of frozen fear. His woman stands guard for us. We cannot get past, he cannot get past her early slave molding process. He is a good tool. Black men, you are a good tool. So my point is that we paradigm shift this just a little bit. You're not going to take away your identity of being a good human resource. We are just now going to make sure that you work for you and your culture, making sure that you put into, because historically we built up their culture. Now it's just time for us to switch and direct our attention to us and build up our culture. See, we can't be scared of that. We've already done it. And we have history books because Frederick Douglass and Ida B. Wells and Bessie Coleman and Sojourner Truth, they left notes, which is another thing that I'm going to get on, but I'll get on in it in another segment, is that we are not leaving any notes for the next couple of generations. What did it say? Think on future generations. We need to start leaving our notes, because to tell you the truth, I can't even imagine. Once they get wind of this video here, they'll probably take it down. So I make sure that I stay committed to my notes. When I die, I'm hoping that my kids or my family or whomever decides that they have to pack up my remains will see that it is some type of content, and hopefully the leaders of DC Urban Mentors will be ready to get it, take it, hand it off. That's why I want my crew, my mentor proteges from ages 17 to 27. Yeah, you need to holler at us, because it's time for us to start grooming you. You need to know where all of this stuff is, because you will be taking the baton. Still old now. I'm old. I don't know if I'm gonna be here all that long, but I'm old. So the next generation, you need to understand. You need to get your hands on this. You are a good tool. So all along, we've been using the force and the intellect of the black man's power to build up other cultures. Now it's just time for him to do it for his own culture. He is soundly broken in and ready for the long life of sound and efficient work for reproduction. Okay, continually through the breaking of civilized savage. I swear, this just reading this has me sweating now. I think we get the point. I don't even know if I feel like, yeah, because it's still quite a bit to go through. I think that was a good induction. I think that was a good, not even an introduction, but I think that was a good chunk into what this is. And plus, now I gotta go to the bathroom, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it. Um, I might pick it up. I might do a segment two to this because I really don't want to leave it hanging like this. But I will do this. Okay, so the additional note at the end of this piece from it says it's an article from a title what's called Brown America. From Brown America, the story of a new race by Edwin Embry in 1931, the Viking Press. So it says Henty Berry, speaking in the Virginia House of Delegates in 1832, described the situation as it existed in many parts of the South at that time. He says this: "We have, as far as possible, we have, as far as possible, closed every avenue by which light may enter their minds," talking about the slaves, light entering their minds. "If we could extinguish the capacity for them to see the light, our work would be complete." See, the thing about it is, black folk never stop seeing the light. They had what the Europeans fail to realize is that there is something called the human soul, and it is not easily broken collectively. You might have one or two, and you may have killed off thousands, but the collective nature, the social soul of urban folk cannot be easily broken, and that's what they were aiming for. What they were aiming for was to have a whole bunch of zombies walking this land doing exactly what it was that they wanted us to do. But the human soul is so resilient and vibrant that they could not extinguish the internal light that lies within us. Okay, so now they've, lift the foot up off the neck just a little bit. Believe me, it's still there. They just don't have on Timberlands anymore. They probably have on like Nike flip-flops, but their foot is still in our neck to a certain degree. So the light is not completely gone, but he says, if we could extinguish the capacity for them to see the light, our work would be complete. They would then be on a level with the beasts in the fields, and we should be safe. I am not certain that we would not do it if we could find out the process, and that on the plea of necessity. So that's what they do. They discover what the process is, and then they plead on its necessity. That's how things get done. So right there, those are two golden keys that I've given you so you can start unlocking your potential to know that you first find out what the process is, and then you go and plead on its necessity. Okay, well, I'm speeding now because I really got out of the bathroom. So I want to say namaste. Thank you for hanging out with me. I got to go before I wet my clothes. It's been real. I hope that you have had a wonderful time. It wasn't really like good, light-hearted type stuff. I didn't do as much giggling. But, there's a time and place for everything. I'm hoping you got something out of it, and I will see you soon.